everybody. Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about all of the businesses that I would create if I was starting from scratch using artificial intelligence and generative. This is really important because I know a lot of people are moving into a space where they feel like they want to supplement their income, they want to build side hustles. People are getting laid off at record rates, and it's very scary for a lot of folks. And so, we just want to make sure that you know what it takes to build a business and how AI can help you do that. Recently, there was a report that said, I think by the year 2035, over 50% of white collar workers will be self-employed. I think right now it's about 22%, 23%. And I think that's probably accurate. There's basically fractional CEOs, fractional CFOs, fractional CMOs. They've been around for a long time. But what's happening is that, you used to think as layoffs as kind of underperformers, and that's not the case anymore. People are getting laid off with tons of experience, a lot of value that they've created for these companies, but perhaps their full-time 40-hour-a-week role is no longer needed, but they need someone that's 20 hours or 15 hours a week. So more and more people are going to find themselves as solopreneurs. And my hope is that you take that opportunity to grow a business that's sustainable and gives you that lifestyle freedom that working a traditional 9 to 5 actually would never give you. All right, let's get into it. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is that the barrier to being an entrepreneur has never been lower. Okay. Anybody can be an entrepreneur these days. Everybody is an entrepreneur. If you're a content creator, you're an entrepreneur. If you are buying a bunch of real estate, you're an entrepreneur. First is just to accept that mindset. A lot of times I see people resistant to calling themselves a business owner, an entrepreneur. And if you first just say, like, I'm an entrepreneur, I am someone who is enterprising, I am someone who's creating value and getting compensation in exchange for the value that I'm creating, that helps open your mind to how you can monetize some of your skills and create different products and services that are going to be able to actually get you income or revenue down the line. So first business that I would start as an AI company would be an AI powered content agency. Because more and more experts are becoming solopreneurs, a lot of them have to market themselves for the first time. And just because you're an expert at something doesn't mean you know how to create social scripts and videos and do all of the things that now is required to market your brand and your services publicly. And with AI, it has never been easier to create systems for someone else to actually be able to get their content out in the world. Now, this is really important. We're not in a place with generative AI where it will do everything for you from front to end. That's why there's a human element involved. And that is why creating an agency model actually would do really well. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are an expert in marketing and content creation. You used to work at a big company and now you find yourself unemployed. I would use AI to develop your own framework, your own system for content creation. And I would offer that to my friends, my colleagues, etc. I would start with video because that's the thing that is really time intensive for a lot of people, especially if they're not used to editing their videos or writing scripts and things like that. And I would build custom GPTs for every step of the process. The human element is that then I would hire and outsource an editor to actually edit the videos because I personally would not have the time, but I could. If I had the time, I would maybe edit the videos initially to build out kind of my model for what's going to go viral, what's going to do well. But over time, I would actually outsource that and subcontract that out for my agency. So I might have a bunch of GPTs that collect information, do the brand positioning, write the scripts, and then I would offer a monthly package of, hey, here's 5 to 10 videos per month. You just upload your content into this folder and we'll take it from there. And then we deliver those videos 2 weeks later. Somebody somewhere is willing to pay for that AI content agency. I promise you. People will be begging you for this because so many of us do not actually want to run the whole process. And a lot of people don't even know how. Okay, so the next thing that I would do, the next business that I would actually start is a custom GPT business. Most people are using ChatGPT, right? Like that is the tool that is used by the majority of people. It has a huge market share compared to a Midjourney or a Gemini or a Copilot or a Claude. Most people are using ChatGPT. So instead of becoming an expert on all these different tools, I would become an expert on ChatGPT and I would set up people's ChatGPT instances for them because the average person does not have hours and hours and hours listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos to learn how to do these things. And also, it's moving so fast. The process of setting up custom projects, building a custom GPT, tailoring their instructions within their own GPTs to actually make sure that the output is exactly what they want and is consistent, setting up their settings within ChatGPT so that they can just hit the ground running is something that a lot of people just don't do. And it reduces the efficiency of their ChatGPT usage. It reduces the quality of their ChatGPT usage. And it also honestly just takes more energy and more water in the environment. So offering hey, I will do it for you. I will set up your GPT instance that will be optimized for you and your company and your personal brand. And that's it. That's like the only service. It's a one service company. Okay. And that's what you do. You're an expert at that. I promise you, people will be willing to pay because nobody wants to do all that upfront work and they don't want to learn how to do it either. Maybe over time, you could also charge a maintenance fee as like things change a lot, or you say, hey, within 90 days, like I'll come in and tweak anything based off of new changes or new releases, just because things are moving so quickly. But that's something to consider as kind of a maintenance package and then just a straight up one-time build offering. Okay, the third option for an AI business that I would create is a little tricky because it could get disrupted really quickly. So you have to be careful how you build this, but it's an AI automation company. So I would work with small business owners and mid-sized companies that need automation set up for them based off of the tools that they have. The reason I say this is slightly risky, so I'm giving it a little asterisk, is that ChatGPT is releasing a ton of products and new connectors all the time. So I would be very careful what I would build this on top of. If possible, I would build this on top of ChatGPT as opposed to building it on top of N8N or Make.com or Zapier because ChatGPT could just release a new product or feature that disrupts it. So ChatGPT has this option of building connectors and connecting your different files like your Drive, your Canva, your Google Calendar, your Microsoft, all different types of tools. But again, most people don't know how to do that. So for example, within our own company, one of our team members built an automation that was for our client kickoff decks. So we have a client kickoff deck template, and then we have all the client kickoff information in a spreadsheet that we always have that's kind of tracking the campaigns as they're happening. So they built a connector between the campaign information and the client deck template so that anytime we have a new client, it generates the deck, first version of the deck for our team, which is really helpful. You know, it takes our team 3 to 4 hours, probably a week, updating these decks just to have a conversation with a new client. Now they can at least get a first version and cut that time in half. So building those kind of custom automations and connectors is another great way to make money because sometimes just starting the process is the part that's the hardest. Most people can maintain something, but setting everything up and fixing all the bugs and making sure that it's actually automated goes a really long way for a lot of companies that are just trying to save their employees time right now. And perhaps even in an economic climate that's a bit unsure, people are really looking to say, hey, maybe we should hold on making that extra hire and see if we can automate this instead, while we're just seeing how the market shakes out. Like we don't know what's going to happen and we want to be very cautious with our cash and our spending. And we want to make sure that the employees that we have, we can keep. So let's not backfill this role, but let's try to figure out some automations. And their team may just not have the technical capability to do that. So having an AI automation consultancy, chef's kiss. Over time, you could scale this by hiring kind of automation engineers and different people who work with different companies. And I think it would do really well. I'd probably charge between $1,000 to $10,000 per project. That sounds like a lot. But when you think about the compounded time that's saved, if all these automations work, it's probably worth at least $5,000 to $10,000. Okay, so the next business that I would do, this is for someone who already is a coach or an educator. So if you already are coaching or teaching people something, and you're trying to figure out how you evolve that coaching or that learning because people can learn that on AI now. They don't need you to teach them how to do it anymore. Then I would consider just teaching people basically practical uses for AI within your specific industry. So let's say, for example, you are a personal finance guru and you are someone who people talk to about how do they reduce their debt or how do they increase their credit score or how do they save enough money to be able to save up to buy their first home purchase. How do they manage their whatever? Okay, whatever personal finance category you all are in. Now, instead of going to you, you're competing with ChatGPT because people are just asking, "Hey, ChatGPT, here's my credit score. Here's what it says on my credit report. How do I manage this?" Or, "Hey, here's all my debt. Come up with a plan for me to manage this." So you're now competing with ChatGPT when it comes to personal finance advice. You can beat it, you can join it, okay? Because I can guarantee you, if you don't incorporate some of these tactics, then you're not going to necessarily make it. So what I would do is build a AI education platform for my specific category. So sticking with the context of AI for personal finance, I would build using Lovable or using Replit. I would build out a personal finance tool on top of ChatGPT using my own philosophy, frameworks, training, expertise, certifications that I have to customize our philosophy here. And then I would create basically a chatbot or an app that's leveraging the technology of AI, but is customized to my brand to teach people what I was already teaching them. So that way you are AI enabled, but it is still you, it is still your philosophy, and it merges the best of both worlds. This goes for the same thing for parenting, for people who are working, any sort of coaches, anyone who's working on helping people start a business. You can use AI and ChatGPT as your baseline LLM, large language model. So you're leveraging the tool and the brain of ChatGPT, but you layer it underneath you. That is the secret sauce. That is the next level of platform building and business building. It's not just here's my website, here's my video courses, here's my whatever. You need something that's interactive, that's going to answer people's questions and get them the information that they need based off of your philosophy. That one's a bit harder to do, but over time it scales and it's a defensive move. It's something that keeps money in your pocket instead of you losing clients left and right because there's a cheaper way for them to get this advice. Last but not least, and I need somebody to build this, so let me know if you do, an AI-powered recruitment agency. LinkedIn has made it so easy to apply to jobs. It is driving me nuts. We open up a job one day at Blavity. The next day, we have 700 applicants, and they're not qualified. It's like literally hundreds of people from all over the world are applying to jobs that they don't have any of the credentials for because LinkedIn and all these other tools have made it so easy for someone to apply and customize, a couple things on their resume. And so now we're getting into a situation where, I used to love spending my Friday nights like looking through people who wanted to work at Blavity and like looking at their LinkedIn, looking at their profiles, looking at their cover letters, looking at their portfolios. And I don't have time to do it because it's just so many people now. These are not people who've gone to our website, gone to our careers page, and then said they want to work at this company. These are people who just saw a job posting on LinkedIn and pressed a button without even knowing who we were. And I think that there's a lot of business owners who feel that way, especially business owners like me who don't have talent and recruiting employees because we don't hire that many people per year. We hire, 5, 6, maybe 7 people per year. And that's not enough volume to justify another full-time employee just to manage that funnel. So all of my teams are managing their own roles themselves. And it's incredibly overwhelming. And I know it's not a good user experience for the applicant, like the very serious person who applied. And it's not a good experience for the hiring manager. It's just a lose-lose overall. So there's definitely something that could be done or built using AI to facilitate this process faster, which is reviewing the applications, reviewing like I would love somebody to come up with a system where it's like, hey, upload your 1,000 resumes that were like uploaded, and then give me your keywords, give me the things that you guys are looking for, the years of experience, the types of companies they work for, the projects that they've worked on before, the deliverables that they've had, and their result. And then I will like go search on their LinkedIn. I will go search not just the resume, but like basically the 360. And I will then say, I will rank, hey, you should look at these top 50 resumes out of this batch of 1,000. There's a lot of challenges here because AI is inherently biased because of who built it and how they built it. So there's lots of reasons why this requires also a human element, which is why you would need have a business here. So, it could be those 50 and then an actual recruiter looks at those 50, prioritizes them, and then gives it to their client. So with all of my ideas, my purpose in giving you guys these things is to actually show you that even with AI, a human is still necessary to approve, review, and curate the outcome. And that is the business opportunity, is let me reduce this volume for you and get through it. You also could go the other route, which is sourcing. What I just described is a more passive approach, looking at all the people who applied. Sometimes the best applicants don't even know there's a job. So you need people to go source for you. And sourcing is very labor intensive. You have to go to the LinkedIn of companies that are your competitors. And then you go to, their employees. And then you look and see where they worked and you keep clicking around. An AI agent that could possibly do that, again, with human guidance. So every single thing that I'm telling you is AI plus human equals business. Okay. And I think that a ChatGPT for resume parsing, a LinkedIn scraping tool that's better than just like a weird web bot. Like you could start where an industry that you actually have connections with and then grow from there. But I think this would bang. Let me know if you build this. All right, y'all. Those are my 5 different businesses that I would start if I needed to using AI plus me. And I hope that this inspires you to think about how you can build a side hustle or build a business, particularly if you're looking at a future where your employment may not be stable. Get ahead of it, start tinkering, start now. You never want to be dependent on one company or any one source of income for you to live your life. That's how you work smarter, not harder. Until next time, see you later. Bye.